Today we're going to talk about stepping into conflict.
Be the Reason is all about human connections. Because no matter how much we think we know how we are being heard, there is one thing that I can guarantee based on my decades of professional experience. Other humans will hear us differently than we hear ourselves. In other words, the responsibility is on us to communicate as effectively as possible, whether in professional or personal conversations. So let's dig in.
All right, a long time ago, maybe 8 months ago, I did a video about seeking to understand others instead of seeking to be understood. And if we make the priority when we have conversations seeking to understand, it really can open the doors for us to be understood once we have a handle on the understanding part. But this really comes into play when you're talking about conflict. So if you've got a conversation that you need to have, that you're afraid to have, because you believe that it is going to be conflict, the very first thing I want to encourage you to do is ask why. Why do you think that? What is the objective of the conversation? Is the conversation for you truly to understand a particular thing? Is it to understand what the objectives are? Is it to understand what the person is thinking that you're having the conversation with? Or are you going into that conversation with guns blazing and you're already cranky and you just want to be understood? Because if it's the second thing, then of course you're worried about the conflict. That's a no-brainer. It is already dramatic inside your own head and you haven't even had the conversation yet. So please step back and figure out, why do you need to have this particular conversation? What are the objectives that you want to see as the outcome? And that will truly drive the success of the conversation. If you approach quote unquote conflict, and I'm saying it that way because you don't even know if it is yet, but if you approach conflict in a way that you truly want to get some information and you honestly want a better understanding, it's going to help you choose your approach in a less emotional way. It'll help you choose the words in a less attacking and aggressive way, and it will just set the tone for a great conversation in which you are seeking to understand. So try that first. Then second, let's say that you do approach this conflict conversation from a place of truly no drama, no emotion, just great questions that could potentially help you understand the situation. And the conversation goes south anyway. What do you do then? Do you jump on the emotional bandwagon? Do you feed into all those feelings that you were afraid of from the beginning? Or do you work extremely hard to listen and to still try to obtain the objectives that you had when you started the conversation? Look, I get it. I get that it can be challenging. I have had so many conversations that I was afraid of having, but I did force myself to grow in this area and to change and to really approach a conversation with wanting to understand, wanting to know, okay, why did that happen? Tell me the situation. Tell me, who was involved? What led to that course of events? And I say the words a lot in those conversations, I really want to understand. Now, on a side note, Wanting to understand something does not mean that you're signing up for agreeing with it. It just means you want to understand. But in this second scenario, if you have intentionally chosen a great approach and non-aggressive, non-attacking words, but the person that you're speaking with does still happen to go a little off the rails, you still have choices to make. And my encouragement to you is be respectful and be professional. I know that it's hard. I know it's hard. And we don't get this coaching everywhere. We don't, which is why I'm doing these videos in the first place. We need to hold each other accountable to just doing our best to be respectful and professional. At the end of the day, we really are responsible for ourselves, not for the other person. And so you've got to think through it. But I'm going to do a full circle here. And I really want to encourage you that if you take the time to approach what you have decided is a conflict conversation and to change that into really being clear that you have objectives that you want to achieve and you want to understand a specific situation, and you approach the other person with that openness of wanting to understand, I think it can go far better than you've ever experienced before. Please trust me on this. You can have amazing growth in this area if you focus on your words and your approach. Don't be afraid of the conflict. You've got this.
If you like the content in these videos, please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Or if you have specific topics that you would like addressed or questions, please leave those in the comments. Thanks so much.